Hare Krishna. Welcome to all the devotees for today's discussion on Sri Valmiki Ramayana. So, before starting the session, we will chant Mangalacharan prayers and then we will start today's session on Ramayana. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvise Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Nirachala Nivasaya Nityaya Paramatmane Balabhadra Subhadrabhyam Jagannathaite Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So today we are going to discuss from Sri Valmiki Ramayana. As we have discussed till now till chapter number 4. So we have seen in the first chapter of Sri Valmiki Ramayana Balakanda, the first Kanda, Balakanda. In the first chapter we have seen that Narada Muni visits Valmiki Muni's ashram and Valmiki Muni along with his disciples receive Narada Muni, respect him, accordingly worship him, and afterwards Valmiki Maharshi inquires from Narada Muni about certain personality possessing many auspicious qualities, and in answer to that question Narada Muni answers that is Sri Lord Ram, and Lord Ram is that personality, he is Swayam Bhagavan. And so one more thing he explains is the whole story of Ramayana of Lord Ram, as he has heard from his father and guru Lord Brahma the Moola Ramayanam, he summarizes and explains in brief to Valmiki Muni as an answer to the question, and then he departs. So in first chapter Valmiki Maharshi teaches us how to approach a guru, how to take shelter of guru, how we should respectfully hear from guru and respectfully treat guru. When we do that very nicely, then we get the mercy of Lord and also guru, and as a result he explains what mercy has got. Lord Brahma personally came to Valmiki Muni's ashram, and we know that incidents that conspired before that, which we discussed in our last session. where Valmiki Muni curses a hunter who kills one of the male croncha bird, because of which he was little bit unhappy, but he just contemplates on the verse which comes in the form of a shloka, a meter, which can be sung with a musical instrument in a beautiful tune. So when he was just thinking about it and coming, then in his ashram, when he reaches, in a short time, Lord Brahma arrives to Valmiki ashram. He meets him personally. Of course, Valmiki Maharshi respects, offers obeisances and worship, and a nice seat is offered to Brahmaji. And after that, he gets the instructions, empowerment from Lord Brahma. That is the mercy he has got by worshipping and hearing nicely from his Guru. So Lord Brahma has bestowed his mercy and empowers him that he can visualize within his mind everything, all happenings of Ramayana, all things which happened in public, in private, in Ayodhya, in Lanka and everywhere, along with Lord Ram, Lakshman, Sita and all the pastimes, and which are going to happen also. So in his meditation he could envision that, and then he compiled the Ramayana. After that he was looking for whom to teach this Ramayana, who can actually propagate it to the whole world. And then he found in his ashram, respectfully paying obeisances to him, Lava and Kush. So Lava Kush, he teaches the whole Ramayana, who were really perfect people, perfect kids, who had all qualities and capabilities and that kind of voice, and has the knowledge of music, and of course the Vedas and Vedic essence, purports. They were expert at everything and really excellent in doing this job. Knowing that, he explained the whole Ramayana to Love and Kush. Then Love Kush, singing Ramayana in a beautiful tone and tune, they pass on to the streets of Ayodhya, and they come to this place where there are arrangements going on for Ashwamedha sacrifice. And in the assembly of sages, they were singing. All the sages appreciate them and give them wonderful gifts. And after that, in the same assembly, they were singing on, and they were observed by Bharat, the brother of Lord Ram. He takes Love Kush on the instruction of Lord Ram to the palace, and then Lord Ram requests them to start Ramayana, and everybody is absorbed in hearing the Ramayana, which is started. The description is started by Love Kush. Lord Ram, hearing the description, he gets down from his simhasan to relish more. He sits amongst the common public, unnoticed by anyone. Everybody is rapt, absorbed in hearing Ramayana, and Love Kush starts description of Ramayana with the city of Ayodhya, which is the topic of discussion for today. So we are going to see today chapter number 5, 6 and 7. In chapter 5, we are going to discuss specifically about Ayodhya city, how the great city of Ayodhya was established, and actually the description of the city and the things present in the city, people present in the city, and specifically the Ayodhya citizens, the qualities of the citizens of Ayodhya, the categories of citizens of Ayodhya who are present in Ayodhya is described in the next chapter, that is chapter 6. And then in the chapter 7, we actually see the description of Dasharath and his ministers, the cabinet, through which Dasharath is ruling the Ayodhya, and through Ayodhya is ruling all, from Ayodhya is ruling the whole planet Earth. So that is a whole description of Ayodhya in the 3 chapters, including the city, the people, the citizens, the king and the ministers. So now let us start with chapter number 5. So first verse I will recite, and after that we will go in this format of the story description. Sarva purvam miyam yesham asit kritsna vasundhara prajapatim upadaya drinam jaya shalinam. So here, this great earth, which is unconquerable by anyone else, belonged and ruled by the kings of dynasty from directly coming from Manu. Manu Rikshwaku. So in this dynasty of solar dynasty or sun dynasty, Manu comes, and Manu, after that Ikshwaku, and then the greater king. There are many great kings in this dynasty. One of the king is Sagar. So there is about Sagar Maharaj also is explained here. He is a king along with his 60,000 sons. He dug up the earth, and that's how the ocean was formed, the great Sagar. So the name we call as Sagar, right? So Ganga Sagar, we go Ganga Sagar Mela. The Sagar, basically ocean, actually got the name Sagar from the king's name Sagar, who created the ocean by digging up the earth. So such famous and great kings were there in the dynasty of Ikshwaku, and in that such great dynasty description is explained, and the great king's description, of course the main hero of the whole Ramayana is Lord Ram. The description is explained by Valmiki Muni by the mercy of Lord Brahma. And then this Valmiki Muni's Sri Valmiki Ramayana broadcasts along with the histories and dynasties and stories related to the Ikshwaku's family, mainly Lord Ram, along with the Dharmartha Kama Moksha is also explained very well, specifically Dharma and Moksha, which we have already discussed in our previous chapter. But to get the full benefit of hearing the Ramayana, so Lavakusha are explaining that we should hear without envy, that is with full respect, devotion and faith. Then actually we can really get the benefit of hearing Ramayana. So now let us start the description of the kingdom of Dasharath. So the country of Dasharath, which is ruled by the kings of Ikshwaku dynasty, and now the Dasharath, during his time, the country's name is called as Koshala. The Koshala is the whole kingdom of Dasharath. Okay, and the capital city of Koshala, the country of Koshala, is Ayodhya. And the people in the Koshala were very, very happy, as explained in these shlokas, with a lot of wealth, lot of grains was available at their disposal. And this Koshala, the kingdom of Dasharath, was located on either sides of the banks of the river Sarayu. Now also you can go to Ayodhya and take a bath, you can visit, you can see the river Sarayu. Okay, so on the either banks of the river Sarayu, it's a huge expansion of the land where the kingdom of Koshala or the country of Koshala is located. And great city Ayodhya is actually built, which is the capital city of the Koshala or the kingdom of Dasharath, is personally constructed by Manu. And the center of the city is actually 12 yojanas long and 3 yojanas wide. It has very nice huge highways extending from the palace to the outskirts of the city. Both the sides of the highways are having nicely planted trees, and always the highways are very clean, washed with the water, either from the rains in the rainy season or by the people of the city of Ayodhya on a regular basis. It is always clean and neat. So in this way the roads were always decorated with the flowers falling from the trees and washed water from rains and the people. So now Dasharatha was ruling the kingdom of Koshala through the city of Ayodhya. Actually he was the emperor of the whole planet or the Bhumi. Just as Indra is ruling his heavens with the capital at Amaravati, similarly Dasharatha was ruling the whole earth with capital at Ayodhya. Now it's explained about the city of Ayodhya. There were very nice entrances, gates, wooden gates, different kinds of decorations were made throughout the city. Always city was in a festive mood, and there were all kinds of markets available where different kinds of goods were sold by different businessmen. So a lot of businesses were going on, a lot of weapons were also sold, and also all kinds of artists were also there in the city of Ayodhya. And it's a crowded place, in the sense lot of people of different categories, all the four categories, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudras, you can see them well present in Ayodhya city doing their respective duties. And they had a multi-storied buildings. Ayodhya was having multi-storied buildings. There were many halls where there was a nice dance was going on, music was being played. The boundary of the Ayodhya was circled with mango orchards or mango trees. So that's how the boundary of Ayodhya was filled. And also there was nice, the boundary was protected by the soldiers with nice machines and weaponry required for fighting and defending the city of Ayodhya. So city of Ayodhya was constructed in such a way that it was very difficult for any enemy to enter or attack and win over the city. It was impossible for any Yodha or a great fighter to actually win over the city Ayodhya. Hence it is called Ayodhya. No one can actually win or occupy or attack and win the city of Ayodhya, because they were so capable. The kings of the dynasty of Ikshvaku or Manu or Solar dynasty were so capable to defending their city and finishing of their enemies that no one could defeat the kings of Ikshvaku dynasty or attack Ayodhya. So in this way, the great city was actually having beautiful roads, and also it was very difficult for accessing for enemies. And the city was filled with all different kinds of animals also, like horses, elephants, camels, donkeys, cows, and many other animals. So there were many shops, merchants were there who were selling a lot of goods. There were a lot of jewelry sold in the markets. Similarly, there were sloping rooftops, sporting hills, and there were many women who were very beautiful in Ayodhya. They were wearing all kind of jewels and jewelry, and the families were nicely located in their houses and very nicely constructed in a very planned constructed city. Ayodhya was it. And there was a lot of paddy grains. There was a lot of wealth and a lot of grains. There was no scarcity of food nowhere else, nowhere ever. And the water was so sweet as much as sugarcane juice. So this was the best place on the planet Earth actually. And it's always resounding everywhere with nice music made by drums, mridangas, veenas, kettle drums. So the houses very beautifully constructed and was filled with best of the men. So this is the construction of the city of Ayodhya. We can understand this is the place which Lord Ram has selected for his appearance, right? So Lord Ram is going to appear in this city. So what kind of city it is? What kind of people lived? Who is the king whom he is accepting as a father? Who are the ministers in that kingdom? So the place Ayodhya which Lord Ram is selecting to appear, the great Ayodhya city, is described here. So we should also know this is a description of the mostly the things and the buildings and the roads and the other opulences of Ayodhya city, which we are going to see more in the further. But the most important thing is now we are going to see. So now the discussion is going on throughout the India and world, the great topic of Ayodhya, specifically in regards to the recently done Janma Bhumi, Ram Janma Bhumi, Bhumi Pujan, where the great temple is going to be constructed. So now the temple is going to come up and Lord Ram is going to be worshipped there. But now what kind of city should be there for that surrounding? What kind of people should be there? Then really it makes the Ayodhya. Okay, so that we will learn today, so that we can actually become such kind of citizens in this country. then the real Ayodhya can be established. So this Ayodhya had many Maharathas. They were very learned in weaponry. They could use all different kinds of weapons. All different kinds of weapons available on that day, till during that time, were available at their disposal. Different kinds of arrows and different kinds of weapons they were having. They used to never kill a person or make any person suffer because of their military abilities unnecessarily. They had so much ability. They had the ability to kill their enemy even if the enemy is hiding. By there is called a science known as Shabdavedyam. Shabdavedyam. They know that from where the sound is coming, they can hit the arrow even though enemy is not visible to them. He is hiding that place. So they used to even control and kill the lions and tigers if they come and disturb the ordinary people in the cities and villages. Alright. So there were many great nice Brahmanas who were twice born Dvijas, and also they were very, very intelligent, learned in the Vedic scriptures. They always performed sacrificial. They lit the sacrificial fires. That means they were performing the sacrifices, fire sacrifices. See, this is Treta Yuga. Right? In Treta Yuga, the major mode of worship will be Yajna, the fire sacrifice. That is how we see that even Dasharath Maharaj is going to perform, which we are going to see in our next class, for begetting Lord Ram as his son. So this fire sacrifice was a major method of worship in Treta Yuga, and many of the Brahmanas were actually performing the fire sacrifices like Agni Hotra sacrifices, Soma Yajna sacrifices, which we are going to see in our next coming chapter also. And they were very learned in Vedas and Vedangas, and also they had full control over their mind and senses. So there were nice rishis and sages also there in Ayodhya. That's how the explanation of city of Ayodhya finishes. The chapter concludes. So now we are going to see the next chapter, that is chapter number 6, which describes the citizens of Ayodhya. So what are the qualities of the kind of people who lived in Ayodhya? What is their nature? What is their capabilities? That we are going to see now. So first is explained about the major citizen. The main citizen is the king himself, Dasharatha. He protected this Ayodhya very nicely, as Manu protected the whole world. He not only just protected, he has the capabilities of a Kshatriya, but also he has the full knowledge of Vedas. He was like a Rajarshi. He was a king at the same time saint, because he had the whole knowledge of the Vedas and the whole capability of a Kshatriya. So he was a great Rajarshi and a great descendant of Ikshvaku dynasty. See, Lord Ram is selecting Dasharath as his father. You can understand, definitely he had the great qualities. That is the reason why Lord Ram has selected Dasharath. One of the major quality, most important quality of Dasharath, which we are going to see now, is Satyabhisandhena. That is a great worshipper of Lord, absolute truth, Param Satyam, in the form of Ranganath, which their dynasty, family deity. So what you see, Sri Ranganath, the deity which is there in Sri Rangam temple today, was actually worshipped by Dasharath Maharaj, even Lord Ram, and all the kings of Ikshvaku dynasty till then, because the deity was actually present in Ayodhya before this. So we are going to see that story later on when it comes. As of now, so all the citizens of Ayodhya were actually very much respectful and subordinate to the king. This is a very important feature. You see the great citizens of Ayodhya, and he had such a kind of military strength, Dasharath, that he could subdue any kind of enemy. So he also had his mind and senses under his control, and he has such kind of riches and opulences and the wealth in the kingdom that he was compared to Indra and Kubera. So basically, he was a great follower of Dharma, Dasharatha, dharmic person, worshipper of Lord Ranganath. So we see here that in that excellent city, as the king are the people. They all were also dharmic in nature, following the dharma. They were also learned in the scriptures and also satisfied with their respective wealth, and they were not at all greedy, and they are very truthful in their speech. There was no family man who had a small treasury or without a cow or wealth or grains or unfulfilled. That means here every family had a nice treasure, nice wealth, lot of grains, cows, and everything required. So they were not having any kind of deficiencies or scarcities. So it was neither possible to find a man anywhere in Ayodhya who was exclusively devoted to kama or lobha, that is just for lust. There was no person who is lusty or greedy or cruel or uneducated. You don't find like this any person in Ayodhya, and everyone believed in afterlife. See, these are very good qualities. You can see in the current society what kind of people are living in the society. We can build Lord Ram's huge temple. We can build the structures in Ayodhya city. But the character of the people should be also like the citizens of Ayodhya described in Ramayana. Then actually we can expect Ramarajya. Right? So people also should be like this. Now you see people are running after lust, anger, so cruel. You can see that in your newspapers or open in your this website or YouTube and all this social media, internet. You find everything there. People are running after lust, pornography, and different more dirty things. So much cruel. They play those kind of games where it's so much of violence and entertainment filled with violence and cruelty. So their lives are filled with greedy. People are so much greedy now. They want more, increasing their artificial needs. They're working hard for unnecessary necessities, artificial needs. Whole life they are wasting in that. So you can see this thing. And one most important thing is the Ayodhya Vasis, they believed in afterlife. What's so important about it? Nowadays people think that this is the only life. Just enjoy. Work hard as much as try to satisfy, gratify your senses in whatever way you can, because after death everything is finished. There is nothing called as pious, impiety, heavens, hell. It's all trash. Just enjoy as much as you can, because there is nothing after death. So this is the philosophy with which the current society people are living, which is a foolish society, foolish people, this foolish philosophy, because they want to ignore the reality of life, truths of life. If you tell them there is afterlife, if they believe that there is afterlife, then comes the question, what kind of life I will get in the next life? Oh, it depends on my today's actions. If I perform good actions, then I will get a good life. Oh my God, then I have to perform a good action. Then I am bound to perform and work in a proper way. I have to follow a lot of moral principles in my life. Then I have to live a life of character. My God, I want to have illicit sex with so many women. I want to drink liquor. I want to do so much gambling and so much nonsense in my life, and try to enjoy in this nonsensical way. And I don't want to be punished. So that I don't believe in afterlife. So I can do whatever I want. If I can escape from the laws of government, I am not punished inside the jail. That's it. I am enjoyer. I can enjoy whatever way I can. Nobody can punish me. No reactions will come upon me. I can kill any animals and eat like anything. In the name of meat eating, in the name of whatever health, etc., etc. So now the society is turning like this. So today's people don't believe in the next life. This is a big problem. This is one of the biggest cause of people degrading lower than the animals in the street. Because animals in the street are not so much greedy. They are only trying to satisfy their basic instincts. But human beings don't stop there, but they are so much greedy and so much greedy. so many kinds of diseases they are getting because of that. So, but you see that citizens of Ayodhya were satisfied. See, it is explained that the men and women both in Ayodhya were dharmic and they were controlled their senses. Here philosophy of the people in the society is lose control. That is a philosophy with which the modern current society is living. So with that kind of mentality, you cannot establish a good country. You don't make a good citizen in the country. So that's why one should develop good nature and behavior like the citizens of Ayodhya mentioned here. They were spotless in mind like Maharshis. Means their character was very clean and neat. Spotless character they had, Ayodhya Vasis. So this is the place where Lord Ram appears, right? They were all following dharma, they were all nice devotees. So that is the reason why Lord chose to appear in this place of Ayodhya. Actually, Lord appears wherever there are devotees singing his glories, following the dharma. And not only they were following dharma and living peacefully, controlling their senses, but also they had a lot of wealth, and also they were doing a lot of yajnas, but also they were also dressing very nicely and wearing earrings, jewelry, nice pagadi and very nice dresses they were wearing. They were not poor. They were having oil bath and they used to decorate their body. They used to put sandalwood paste on their bodies and also kumkum and also the kasturi. It's very fragrant, kasturi and this kumkum. They are very fragrant materials, naturally fragrant materials. Today, if you want to get the original kasturi or kumkum, they are very costly, super costly. What you get 100 rupees, 200 rupees dabba scent in your shops or market, in the shop malls and all places, at 100, 200 rupees dabba scent, which is actually chemical with some alcohol, and they advertise it as a great spray, whatever body spray, perfume, that dirty nasty thing that is actually. Can they sell sandalwood paste, or can people in today's society can apply the sandalwood paste? So costly, kasturi so costly. Cannot get pure sandalwood paste or kasturi. So people are actually poor today. They are using this dabba scent, dabba perfumes. They are all actually nasty things. Some nasty chemicals, some chemical mixtures, that's it. They are actually not natural. This kind of actually natural scents actually enhances the atmosphere, make it very really fragrant and also very enlightening and very nice atmosphere they create around you. They were very happy. It is told here that there was none with very little happiness. Means they were not having little happiness, they were having a lot of happiness. They are extremely happy people in Ayodhya, right? And what else? In related to eating, they used to have full meals. There was no person in Ayodhya who had to eat less than full meals. Everybody used to have full meals. Nowadays people have a lot of money. They are so much busy in earning money, they don't have time to eat sometimes. They eat while going on the way or to office. There is no time. Eat and go. Some other put something in mouth and run. So running while traveling in train and bus, on footpath they are eating and going because there is no time. You have to earn more money. Like donkey out to work. So this is a situation, such a terrible situation, such a pitiable situation. People are struggling and working like donkeys and asses. Why they are compared with donkeys and asses in Bhagavatam again and again? Because they are working foolishly and they are forgetting to live a life of happiness and contentment with dharma, following the dharma like the citizens of Ayodhya. So not only that, they used to give food in charity. They were not beggars. There were no beggars practically. Everybody was rich and wealthy, and anyone would used to very comfortably could give charity to anyone. And also they used to wear nice ornaments on their shoulders, chest, arms. Very nicely, opulently they lived. But they were all controlled, self-controlled people. They all performed all fire sacrifices because that was the Yoga Dharma that time, and they lived a very pure life. They were not sitting idle, wasting their time and energy and money in nonsensical things, nonsense sports or films and etc. But actually they were performing very nice duties. Very nicely their duties according to their varna and ashrama. Everyone was performing their duties. If you see Brahmanas in Ayodhya, they were not only their mind and senses are in full control, but whenever you see that they are distributing in charity lot of knowledge. Vidya Dhan. They were doing Vidya Dhan and always reciting the mantras. And they were always pure in their behavior, following Dharma. So when Dasharatha was ruling his kingdom, this is the way people were living. And no one was envious of each other, and everybody knows the goal of life, and everybody is living to achieve the goal of life. And they know that how to reach the best destination after this life. They were all also performing lot of vratas, austerities also. Vrat like Chandrayana Vrat. And in so many occasions they used to give in donation gold. Can you imagine? It's unimaginable for today's people in Kali Yuga. They are very poor. They eat in plastic and paper cups and glass and plates. Such a poor, like beggars. So they used to give gold in donation. Can you imagine? What kind of wealthy people were in Ayodhya? Not a single person wretched with troubled minds or disturbed with diseases and so on. So not a single person was having any kind of mental disorder, mental stress or mental bimari, no mental diseases and also no physical diseases also. They are very hale and healthy in mind and spirit and body. Like today you can see, small child also tells, I am a lot of stress, I have a lot of pressure of studies, so much load. Everybody is loaded. Their mind is loaded, stressed, under pressure. Because of which they have so many kinds of mental psychiatric problems. You see that in the newspapers, so many actors and actresses and big celebrities also committing suicide, going into depression. I was in depression for a long time, just I am taking counseling from a psychiatrist. Such a foolish statements they make very proudly. Is it a great thing? And there are so many fans for the depressed psychiatric actor and actress. There are so many people dying for them, die-hard fans. Such a foolish society made up of foolish celebrities and foolish followers. If you see the celebrities are having such difficulties, but you see in Ayodhya, the normal people also, they are very hale and healthy and disease free. So they were very beautiful and splendorous people in Ayodhya. They had such wonderful qualities and capabilities and everything, but they were not proud, but they had very reverential attitude towards the king Dasharatha. The Brahmanas were worshipping the deities, Vigraha, very nicely. It is told here. And also they used to honor guests very nicely, and they were very grateful, devoted to charity, and they were heroic and endowed with prowess. So this was the best of the city where all the best people were taking shelter of Ayodhya, who were following Vedic Dharma and truthfulness, because of which they lived long lives with their wives, families, children, grandchildren. So Kshatriyas were following Brahmanas, their directions, and they were respecting the Brahmanas and accepted them as their leaders. And the Vaishyas were subordinate to the Kshatriyas, and Shudras were actually serving all the above three classes according to their capacity. So this is how very nicely the Varnashram system was established, and people were extremely happy. And this city was very well protected by the great descendant of Ikshvaku dynasty from Manu, King Dasharatha. And people were not duplicitous, and also they were well educated, and had all good qualities. This was about citizens. Now it's explained about horses. Even the horses in Ayodhya, like Kambhoja, Bhalika, Vanayu, Sindhu, they were born from these kind of races. Best of the horses were there in the Ayodhya, which were comparable as good as Uchcheshrava, which is a horse owned by the Indra. And then similarly, the elephants were of high quality and extreme strength and capabilities, and they were born from Vindhya hills and Himalayas. They were born from the great elephants like Airavata, Mahapadma, Anjana and Vamana. There were many different categories of elephants. The description is given. And the city was true to its name, because even around the Ayodhya city, 2 yojanas of circumference, the city atmosphere and the culture was maintained and protected. So King Dasharatha lived in this city of Ayodhya and ruled the earth. So he ruled like the moon god rules the moon planet, or Indra rules the heavenly planets. Like that, Dasharatha ruled the Ayodhya kingdom. Now the last section, last part comes is King Dasharatha's ministers. Now King Dasharatha's ministers, their priests, chief ministers are explained here. Tasyamatya gunairasan Ikshvakostu Mahatmanah. So the minister is called as Amatya. So Dasharath had principally 8 ministers. Now it's like, the prime minister has a cabinet. Like that, Dasharath also had a cabinet. So Dasharath had 8 prime ministers, main ministers, who carried out all the governmental duties which were entrusted to them and running the kingdom. It's not that only king will rule alone, one-handed. No, he had a cabinet of ministers through whom actually king rules the kingdom. Everybody was expert in different departments. As per that, they were given the duties. They are named as the 8 ministers. Actually, this is according to the Manu. According to Manu Samhita, a king should engage 7 to 8 ministers, should be there helping him in the kingdom, ruling the kingdom with the help of 7 to 8 ministers. And Dasharath had, according to that, you can see 8 main ministers. There were many others, but principally prime ministers were 8. Their names are also given: Drishti, Jayanta, Vijaya, Siddhartha, Arthasadaka, Ashoka, Mantrapala and Sumantra. Sumantra you might have heard, but many others you might have not heard. We'll get to know about them more and more as we go ahead. And the 2 sages were acting as the priests for the Dasharath. They were Vashishta and Vamadeva. Apart from that, there were many others also whom were helping Dasharatha to perform many sacrifices and making many decisions. Were all Brahmarshis like Suyagna, Jabali, Kashyapa, Gautama, Markandeya, Katyayana and others. So all these great ministers and rishis, specifically, they are very, very learned in logic and every kind of subject, and the Vedas and the Vedangas and everything. Not only that, they were always traveling in the path of truth and dharma, and never they did commit any kind of activities which are against dharma. The prohibited activities, they never used to indulge in that things. And they were very capable in political abilities they had. They were not sense gratifiers, they were sense controlled, and they were very mutually very much affectionate. They used to deal amongst themselves very affectionately and warmly. They lived their lives with morality and character. They were greatly intelligent, learned in the politics, and they had a lot of prowess. They were very much knowledgeable and they were celebrated ministers. They attended their governmental duties without fail, very attentively. So they were very tolerant and they were very famous, and their smile preceded their speech. That means basically they did what they said. Also, it indicates that they did not have any envy. Yata vachanakarinah, it is written yata vachanakarinah means it's not like they are thinking something, they had something in their heart and then speaking something, does something, not like that. They had everything. Mind, body, heart, words, actions, they were in one line. Everything was same. They were not duplicitous. They never spoke untrue statements even out of anger or for the sake of sense gratification or for economic success. They were very truthful. And they knew everything which was happening in their kingdom and also the other kingdoms, neighboring kingdoms also. How? They used to employ many spies. The spies, they were all present in different places who were giving them time to time knowledge happening inside their kingdom and other kingdoms also, whether they are kingdoms of enemical kings or friendly kings. They know how to develop nice relationships with well-wishers and the neighboring kings and deal with them nicely. If somebody attacks, they know how to subdue the enemy, and also they know how to make friendship with the enemy. So they know how to inflict a punishment on the criminal in a right way, appropriately. They know what are the process by which they can increase the funds in the treasury, and they know how to maintain the fourfold army. That means the army on elephants, horses, foot soldiers and the chariot warriors, so that their army military strength was very powerful and they could defeat any enemy. So in this way they were very capable in all the aspects of political science. And these all ministers were very pure and unanimous. There were not differences in them. And they all know how to make nice functioning of the government. Because of their nice governance, in any part of the city, no one spoke untruth. Everybody is following the path of truthfulness. Not even a single man in the city or country was having a crooked mind, or they used to never think of another's wife. So the whole kingdom was very excellent and peaceful in their governance. So all the citizens were nicely present, and ministers were excellent. So the king, he was also controlled and sense controlled and free from vices. Like according to Manu, there are total 18 vices, 10 stemming from the lust and 8 stemming from the anger. One should be free from that. And the king Dasharath was free from all these vices, because they can result in grief. What are those vices? 10 vices which are stemming from the lust: hunting, gambling, sleeping during the day, criticism of others, associating with women, drinking liquor, being absorbed in music, being absorbed in song, being absorbed in dance, useless travel. And then the 8 vices stemming from the anger are slander, audacity, betrayal, envy, resentment, theft, verbal abuse and physical abuse. So in this way, Dasharath Maharaj, along with his wonderful ministers and obedient citizens, following everyone on the path of dharma, Dasharath Maharaj ruled over the earth, residing in Ayodhya. And there was no one who was equal to or superior in strength with Dasharath Maharaj. And he ruled like the Devas are ruled by the Indra in heaven. So in this way, with excellent and intelligent and expert ministers, surrounded with nice counsel and competent to carry out their duties, King Dasharath was splendorous like the rising sun endowed with its brilliant rays. This was the city of Ayodhya with a description of the city along with citizens, the king and the ministers, in which Lord Ram has taken birth or appeared. So now the greatest thing is we have discussed about Ayodhya, but now Dashrath had everything, but one of the thing which is causing distress to him was lack of progeny. He had no son. So now, what does he do for that? That's a topic of discussion for our next class. The Ashwamedha Yajna and the next other Yajna he performs, how he performs, for that what all he has to do, and what is the result, and how Lord Ram has appeared. Those things we are going to discuss in our future classes. Till then, thank you so much for your patient hearing. श्री वाल्मीकि रामायण की जय, श्री वाल्मीकि महर्षि की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय, निताय गौर सीतनाथ प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल।